Welcome back, my fellow Eternians. As always, it's me, Emperor AP. Today, or I should say tonight, I am talking to you about micronations and about their importance in macronational politics. A lot of time we talk about micronations for micronations' sake. Of course, we see things that happen around the world, but we want to know, specifically for the United States, how micronations can help. What can we do to make a difference in the country that we are surrounded by and the country that we came from? And so our mother country. And so this is something that is a difficult topic because some micronationalists don't want to talk about macronational politics at all. They feel like micronationalism is an escape from that. They feel like it's something that they want that is different from macronational politics. But the problems that micronations are trying to fix ultimately go hand in hand with the problems that macronations had. The same problems are trying to be solved here. It is just different methods of going about it. And so if we want to truly be better than our macronational counterparts, if we truly want to rise to the occasion to solve some of these problems, we are absolutely going to have to figure out individual ways that we can grow our ability to develop aid effectively for these nations. Molossia, a long time ago, used to say that, I think they probably still keep the saying, that what they're doing when they pay their taxes is providing foreign aid to the U.S. And so I think it's particularly interesting to look at that from the lens not only of, a way to explain away, paying taxes to a macronation that you're a part of, but more so trying to push that a step further and say, okay, well, these are some of the problems in these communities that can actually empower us to make change and to get local support. So first off, what's going on, Master D-Knight? Good to see you. Same thing with you, Sheepland. Great to see you both. This is a big topic for me because, in particular, the area that we're in is has a high homeless rate, has a large homeless population, I should say, and is in a particular situation where there is not a ton of density. So the large city areas that we have are really widespread and are connected by large major highways, 4-lane highways. And so it's very, very difficult for people who are unhoused to have any kind of relief to their situation. If you don't have a car in the area that we're in, it's very, very difficult for you to have a job, because that job may be a 15 to 20 minute drive away from your location. And so, somebody who can't afford their own housing, can't afford a car, is going to be in a really, really tough spot to survive. And that's just unacceptable. That's not something that anybody should be subjected to as a person. And so in order to change that, we have to start looking at small things. When we were talking to Prince Stephen of Dracul on our live stream last week or a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the concept of providing just simple help to the people in your community, handing out sandwiches, for example. And it's interesting. Excuse me, my soul. I'm still getting over a cold, so excuse me, guys. I actually came upon a story not too long ago of a local mission that's in our area, a local shelter for unhoused people that is based on the story of the founders going around and actually handing out sandwiches out of the back of a car. And so in doing that, I thought, hey, that's a great idea for Aeternia. We've talked to school about this. They've had success in similar efforts, not specifically handing out sandwiches, but that sort of thing. And so we were trying to think of ways that we can work on that, ways that we can do that in our local community. And initially that made sense. Hey, let's hand out food. Let's hand out water. That's the most logical thing to do. We started looking into more of what the And while we still want to do that, we have been looking more into what local community activists and local shelters and even the local government here are saying about the homeless situation and what is most needed. And they brought up an interesting point. A few of the places that we had seen talked about the concept that while, yes, it's good to provide and to give charity to the homeless, that when it comes to food in particular, a lot of the time it causes difficulty because of like trash built up and debris and stuff. Which I think is a little bit unfair. People are unhoused; they need a place to go. If you don't provide them one, then of course their trash, their things are going to pile up when nobody, not having a regular trash service for a place of unhoused people, and so a place that isn't an address in that regard. And so that being the case, it would be wonderful if we could provide cleanup services every once in a while, to be able to say, hey, we're going to, these areas locally, and not only providing food, but actually offering, if somebody has trash, if there's problems, if there's things that are causing like hazards for the people who are staying there, trying to help clean those things up, trying to help make the place safer for the people who are forced to stay there. And so that being the case, we can slowly keep doing that, trying to scale up our efforts, getting more connected with the unhoused population in our area, and trying to offer our assistance and our ears in understanding what it is that they need most and what it is that the local community of people who are also trying to help, different charities, different organizations, are having trouble keeping up with demand for, or being able to provide in general. Of course, housing is going to be the big one. Of course, medical care is going to be a big one. But those are things that are very, very hard for even housed people to get, let alone unhoused people. And so that being the case, I don't think that's necessarily where we're able to do the most impact right now. And so we have to look at those smaller things, those things that we can do, once a month with some volunteers, with some people who just want to go and make a difference. And so for us, that's really going to be leaning into trying to get this, this effort off the ground, trying to see who's around, who wants to do that, and of course, bring our own citizens along for the ride. This is something that is essential for us to be able to show communities that micronations are valuable, and to be able to really help define what it is that your nation is about. For us, we really live by the idea that we are trying to help people create a life for themselves that is at a high standard of living, that we offer services that make life easier and easier for people. And that if they don't have any ability to get that, if they don't have any money or anything, that there is a step, there is a starting path, there's a way to get things from our community benefits without needing anything in return. And so that is a big issue for us personally, as we want to recruit citizens and provide for those citizens. But that is also a big effect on our local community. If we are developing as a micronation and the community around us is in dire straits, but we're not helping and we're not providing, then it's a sorry state for us, because it makes it near impossible for us to claim any additional value. Oh, the local government's not doing this and that, and this is why we're creating a micronation. Oh, the federal government's not doing this and that, and that's why we're creating a micronation. Cool. Well, are you doing anything about this and that? Do you have the ability to do that? And while that's not a prerequisite for developing a micronation at all, it is hard for micronations to get off the ground, and it's important that people express their ideas through micronationalism. I think that going beyond that and actually starting to make change locally is a turning point for micronations. It's crucial for the nation's development. It's also a wonderful, wonderful service that can be provided to the local community. Again, if you guys haven't checked out the interview that I did with Prince Stephen of Drukul, definitely go and check that out from a week or so ago. We're talking about monarchies and other stuff, and we end up getting into this conversation right here, which I thought would be fantastic for this stream. First off, we have 7 viewers in here. Hello, everyone. Great to see you. If you don't know who I am, I'm Emperor AP. I run the Empire of Aeternia. We're a micronation located in Alabama, and we are trying our hardest to help develop a community for people and provide for their well-being, and hopefully make some friends along the way. So as we're doing that, we have lots of plans, we have lots of things we're getting into, but we have some friends to reach out to first. Hello, Shotgun20, good to see you. Kingdom of Noblestan, great to see you. Piscilly, great to see you. And Blue Marlin, what's going on? Blue Marlin, I don't think I've seen the chat before. If you're still here, this is a chat. This is a live stream about micronations. So if you guys are enjoying the stream, definitely go ahead and like the video, because that helps to spread our audience more. It helps to get the stream in front of more people, and it helps us to have more people in the comments telling us about these ideas. You know, if they have any input, if what we're providing is good and helpful, and if they think that may be of benefit in their area. Again, micronations are this idea that we can build something, create something as a society that's better than what we have currently. That if enough people put their time and resources into it, that can happen. It doesn't necessarily take a large, overwhelming group of people to pass a legislation to be able to do something about it. If you're really unhappy with the way that things are going in your country, you can start to make change and do that with your own private funds. Of course, that's incredibly hard. And of course, that's something that is not going to come easy to everyone. It is something, though, that can be started by a few. And those people can work within their means to start building and start making change if they see fit. And then those people can find community and others who need those services, provide those, and then the group as a whole is stronger to be able to continue to grow, continue to make larger and larger change on a bigger group of people. So that's, in essence, what I think micronations should be pushing for, is looking to that ladder of how do we get where we're going? How do we develop into the nation that we want to be? And for Aeternia, that has been ultimately enshrined in the idea of looking for that ladder of going from a group that is primarily based on a simple set of ideas, you know, a couple people, myself, a few friends, things like that, to spreading online, really talking to the larger micronational community, becoming a micronation that is well connected with other micronations, as I'd like to think we have been, and then going forward now into how do we connect to the local community that we have here? How do we really branch out and start recruiting from that local community, from people who feel like they have been underserved? And as well, how do we start to provide those benefits for the community so that we become well connected, and so that we are able to create a better environment for our nation to develop in. If our nation exists in a very wealthy and very prosperous and very happy macronation, then our micronation will surely flourish as well. Even the local area around our micronation can have huge economic impacts on our micronation. So the better interconnected we are, the more that we can provide benefit, the more valuable we become, and the more effective the local community becomes as a partner to us. So we really want to try to grow that connection, and that's the stage that this is at. You know, this is kind of a lot of talking about excuse me, coughing right in the mic, excuse me, that was rude. Oh goodness. It's I don't want to do it again. Hold on. Thanks. Let me take a sip of something. I know this is a lot of talking about, you know, this is what should be done, and this, you know, brainstorming ideas, but for us, this is the stage that we're at. We are starting to look at how to make those larger changes. And while it's nice to be able to show YouTube videos when we do make progress and say, hey, look, these are the people that we talk to in the local community, as we have, if you guys have followed our Instagram and Twitter and stuff, we have had official sponsors from local businesses. Now, these aren't people that are giving us money, but these are people that we reached out to and said, hey, would you mind promoting our micronation, the Empire of Aeternia, in your shop? So we created a poster that, you know, was created from handmade paper from one of our former citizens, Gray Mayor. And we took that handmade paper and we wrote on it, this business is an official sponsor of the Empire of Aeternia, and had me sign my name and stamp it with the official seal of the Empire. And, excuse me, in doing all that, we made friends in the community. We connected to these local businesses. And now we need to actually connect more strongly with the base of people who are going to be trying to support us more directly, trying to become citizens, people who would be interested in the thing that we're trying to offer. And so as micronations, we really need to start thinking about that. I know for myself, it's a very tough, excuse me. It's a very tough situation. Shotgun says hello. Pysili says hello, Noblestan. Noblestan says, do you still dislike Stemeria? Dislike is a strong word. I don't have any care about Stemeria. I'm not a fan for sure. Shotgun says, hello, Pysilian. Pysili says, hello, Shotgun. So that's the idea, is that as a micronation, we're trying to develop the foundation for connecting to our local community. And ultimately that, my throat, that's tough for us because, one moment. We're starting from small means. We are starting from a position where we aren't particularly well known or well established in the community, so we don't have a large base of support. We can't just go out knocking on doors and saying, hey, can we get donations for this? Or, hey, would you like to buy this thing? Of course we can, but that's not an effective method. That's not something that makes you a lot of friends necessarily. And so as we continue to try and develop here locally, it's important that we think about what it is that our effect is and what we want it to be. Trying to serve the unhoused population here, something that would be incredibly important for facilitating the proof of what we're trying to do. Making small changes in people's lives that allow them more opportunity to grow and develop themselves. That's something that we have to just start being able to offer. It's not something that is always going to be cheap, but it's not something that has to be expensive. And so as we start off, we really, really want to make that point and drive it home, that we can't just sit by and say, these are the problems in our local community, and oh, I can't believe that this thing happened, and oh, did you see this? Or feeling like, oh, we're just not going to deal with it. We're going to deal with micronations online. That's what we do. That's all we're going to do. Again, for many micronations, that is the choice, and that is fine. For us, and the thing that we are trying to do, the community that we're trying to develop in real life, the people that we are trying to have come live in Aeternian territories as residents, as citizens and residents, they are going to depend on that baseline value that we're providing. They're going to need long-standing proof of those efforts even before the first resident stands on Vitaean soil. And so we have to start somewhere. And I think that place is with serving the unhoused population here. Again, this is a fundamental idea that we in Aeternia believe, that these people who are unhoused, these people who are made invisible in our society a lot of the time, are incredibly valuable members of it, equal so to anybody else. And so in doing this and trying to provide, again, very minuscule help, but really trying to make an impact and let people know who we are, shake hands, provide some help that we can, and ask questions and learn, that hopefully what we'll be able to do is take all of that knowledge that we gain and start to put it forward into new, bigger projects. Again, trying to leave the impression that we are here to help and that we want to know the right ways to help. And I think as our micronation continues to grow, as we start to develop more business, and as we start to work with other micronations to make cooler and cooler things, we have to think about that as well. What is it that your nation needs from us in Aeternia? That was what we did our 2022 Microcon speech on, was the concept that we are trying to make friends out in the community and that we need the business to do so in order to do all these projects, in order to help anybody in the US. We have to have we have to have that financial development. And so if you guys know of something that we in the Empire can do, or if you have questions about what we in the Empire can do, again, metals refining, our metals casting, and plenty of the other ceramic and other projects we've done, those things are incredibly important to understanding you guys. When you tell us a little bit about your nation, when you connect to us and email us, for example, a lot of the time, and especially if you fill out an alliance application, we have alliance applications on our website. When you guys are engaging with us, Discord, any of those places, what I'm trying to do when I'm talking to another micronational leader is think, hey, what is it that can benefit both of our nations in this situation? These two leaders have run upon each other. What is it that allows us to make a positive impact on both of our nations, potentially on the micronational community, from this occurrence? We didn't have to run into each other. We didn't have to have met through whatever channels on the internet or otherwise we met. But the fact is, now we have. What can we do? What does your micronation have to offer? What does Aeternia have to offer your micronation? How can we get that done? That's going all the way back to trade. That's going back to, just the simple ideas of trying to build these things forward. But it's hard. That's not a simple thing for any micronation to do. And so even now, when we're trying to start stepping out into the community, we're back to basics. We're back to square one, trying to even further ingrain ourselves and get connected with you all as the micronational community and our local community macronationally. So definitely hit us up with those things. Definitely continue to interact with us. Continue to talk to us about what possibilities there are between our nations, especially because as we continue to do this and as we continue to grow, expanding micronationally into the community, making those connections, those friendships, and macronationally into our local community, I really want to try to stress that from our end. I'm going to be developing things and designing things and pushing for that connection. Because as soon as our local community asks for something that's more than we can offer, we're going to be calling on the micronational community. We're going to be calling on you guys to say, hey, everybody, this is red alert. We need some help. We have this big event that's going on, and we need to be able to provide this many jackets to people or whatever, or this amount of food to people, but we're missing this amount of budget, or we have a donation center that's at this place that you can send stuff into. We're going to need those connections. And so that may not necessarily always work for an open call on the internet. Of course, you guys are amazing and have definitely jumped on the process of helping us in the past. But this now comes down to, we may need other micronations that we can rely on in person. And future videos may be connected to that concept. Excuse me. My career. Ryan jumped in and said, your boy, good to see you, Ryan. How you doing? And then said, boy off to play video games. Clover says, Aeternia, haven't seen your news yet, but Northern New York as a micronation has disbanded respectively. I'm sorry to hear that. That's crazy. Can you tell us more about Northern New York as a nation, kind of what they've accomplished, what they did? Were you directly a part of Northern New York? And also, what does this mean for you? You seem like personally affected. Also, Paiseli, good to see you. So this idea is really, really really tough because we're trying to start this development on two fronts. We're saying, hey, we need the micronational community, we need to build those relations, and we need to build these local relations. And so there's going to be constant disconnect. The one time that we are able to successfully connect those things, the one time that we are able to have a good, strong connection to, for example, our allies in Draconia, for example, our friends in Arkovia, for example, our friends in Psycholdia and Dracul and all these other places, slowjamastan, when we're able to call on these people and say, hey, we all have different micronations, we all have different purposes, we all have different goals and individual efforts that are going on right now. We're all busy, we all have budgets and things that we're short on. I need your help. That, I think, is powerful. To be able to have that come together successfully is something that a lot of micronational organizations struggle to do. They are a wonderful ability for that to happen, but a lot of the time that falls through. And so trying to one-on-one individually build these connections with nations is certainly a lot harder because you don't have the connection of these other nations to support your development in the group, your kind of help to boost your individual contribution. What you have instead is the Empire of Aeternia saying, hi, nice to meet you, Emperor Von Doom of Draconia. This is who we are. These are our ideas. This is our plan for the future. And these are the resources we're putting behind it. And then Emperor Von Doom says, hi, we're from the Empire of Draconia, and this is what we're doing. And this is why we're doing it. And these are the assets we're putting behind it. And that causes a connection. That allows something to happen. That gets some things moving and shaking. And so as we keep doing that with other nations, of course, we've done those friendships, those handshakes, and those introductions. But actually getting into the work now is an entirely different task. Again, a lot of times, micronations, we are really, really connected to the idea of this conversation, this dialogue. That is the big push around running a nation. You're doing your things on your schedule, and you're talking to these other leaders about them, and you're making agreements, and you're making negotiations, and you're making decisions. But the net output for any of that is always micro for micronations. Now, of course, you can just take all your stuff and focus it in one area and push in that one thing, and you probably have some more success, but that's not necessarily the best thing for a nation to do either. You're trying to up all these different things. And so being able to focus down onto the partnership with another nation, if you can get it to work correctly, if you can figure out that there is a good connection there, if you can develop in a way that is beneficial for both of your nations, if you can align the developments of your nations with each other to strengthen that connection, you are unlocking potential for additional growth that you invested in to pay off multiple times for future years. Again, these are large scale projects for micronations, but I think, if we've talked about a lot of the beginner micronational stuff, this is talking about like mid-tier, almost going into like high-tier micronational stuff. Like this is getting into, okay, you're really doing a lot. You're starting to try to make money. You're starting to try and have citizens live on your land. You're starting to try and do these things. This is getting into the deep. This is getting into the thick of it. And it's a test. It's a test of wills. It's a test of your abilities. It's a test of your ideas, why you started the nation in the first place. And so for us, it's really about trying to find the best way to fulfill on the things that we've talked about and to prove that we're consistent with that. And so the way that we're going about it is really, really slowing and taking an even pace. We have been, again, trying to slowly start researching a lot of these ideas before we jump into them. And as we continue to do that, we're constantly buffing our YouTube channel, for example, to reach out to you guys and to try and say, hey, if you want to support us on Patreon, that's another way that you can help. That's another way that, if you want to see some of those things happen quicker, it's a great way to push for that. And then in the background, we've been developing Aeternia and Vitae. We've been trying to prep all of our resources to better build Vitae this coming summer and spring. And so a lot of what we've been doing is setting up ideas for that, setting up future projects there. I don't want to give away too much, but trying to do some of the things, for example, like the RV and the solar panels. Those are things that are eventually going to find their new home at Vitae, our capital territory. And so as we're building that capital territory, we are getting near to the point that we can start to stay out there. That RV is going to be a big, big bonus to that. The solar panels are going to be a big, big bonus to that. And so while we've gone on this tangent, you may be asking, how does this connect to micronations helping the US? Well, this is it. If you are having this step like we are in, where we're almost to the point where we're starting to develop a steady economy, but we're not quite there yet. We make money sometimes. We make a little bit steadily, but primarily it's, hey, there's seasons when things work out more and we make more money, and then there's off times when we don't. And it depends on what we're doing for who and who's available. We're still a little bit shaky on our economy. So trying to build that up and get to that next rung of, we have a really stable economy. We know consistently how much money is going to come in month to month. We're going to be able to start investing more of that consistently to be able to grow and to be able to expand and to keep pushing that. We're at this middle ground. And so in trying to get over that hump, we are spreading ourselves. We are doing so to maximize the potential of all of those different things. Again, a good strategy would be to sit there and focus on one individual aspect. But because a lot of our development has been focused around connecting with you guys, connecting on YouTube, connecting on the internet, it impacts us immensely to be able to document that experience. And so as we've started to say, okay, things need to focus down on Vitae, we have been able to say, okay, well, what comes after that? What comes after that is our connection to the community, because we're not going to have a good reputation. We're not going to be able to provide benefit consistently to people locally as residents or as visitors, as tourists, as employees, as customers. We're not going to be able to provide for any of those people the things that they want if we're not starting to think and plan now for that time. We don't have a ton to offer now. We can't open the gates of Vitae and say, come on in, and everybody, we've got plenty of space and we've got all this stuff, but we're getting there. And so before we do get there, before we get to the day where we're flinging our gates open, we need to be ready. We need to start making those friendships. We need to start understanding what people want and what they need and how to provide that for them before we just say, we think we know what we're doing and invest a lot and realize that we've been going in the wrong direction. That's a big, expensive mistake to make. And so while we're at this middle ground, we have to try and solve that problem. And that problem is actually in providing aid, in providing foreign aid and helping the United States. So that's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be, in addition to all of the other stuff that we're doing, again, not super frequently, we're not going for a big almighty push right now to be able to help so many people, just starting small. We want to make those connections with people in our local community who are already doing the work, who are already running the missions, who are already running the food banks, who are already going out and being advocates for these people politically, and who are making personal connections to unhoused people on the street. In addition to that, we want to be able to start some of those small projects, getting our community together, getting Aeternians together to be able to say, hey, what can we afford to do? Can we afford to get in a car one weekend and all go down together and hand out sandwiches? Or are we able to go down with a whole bunch of trash bags and pick up and provide some help there? Hand out waters, do something like that. Hand out blankets maybe. at a certain point, especially because of the time of year, with it getting to be winter, with it, well into November, almost into December, people are cold. Anybody that's on the street is in trouble. And it's tragic to say that there are people on the street tonight. And so in thinking about that and in trying to develop, the wonderful Aeternia, where we're going to be able to provide all of these things to all of these people, and we're going to be able to do so much, we'd better step back and check ourselves and say, what is it that is going to legitimately provide a tangible benefit now that can also show that we're stepping in the right direction? Not just something that's a one-off. Hey, here you go. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, we did a thing, post for a picture. Legitimately, meaningfully going up to people, not for YouTube, not for documentation's sake, just privately, and reaching out to those people and giving them some support and saying, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the reason that we're doing it. What do you guys need? And learning about that and going to these local institutions, going to these other people and doing some more of that for YouTube and saying, hey, these are the people locally who are making change. Go and support them. Hey, this is some of the stuff that's going on, and this is what these people are saying about it. And doing all that, and then pushing that into an actual tangible development for our next steps, so that once we come back to the table and once we're providing that next bit of support when we can do it, we're saying, hey, remember last time how we did this? This time we're doing this and this. So we've grown a little bit in the kind of thing that we're doing. We have this backing of all these other support groups locally. So that may mean that we have not only better access to knowledge and resources in that respect, but also we may be able to do things and time them better. We may be able to do them in a way that is connected to an event from a larger group that more unhoused people know about, so that we can provide larger effect. These are going to be the things that are really, really making a difference. And it also, I think, will allow us to, again, get to know those people in the community and become a friendly face to them. So in doing all of that, we're focusing on having that idea, doing all of this prep work in the background to be able to say, hey, this is what we've done so far, and this is our next step. This is our plan. We're developing out at Vitae. We are trying to provide our own solar power and other electricity. We are trying to provide from our own well, our own fresh water, and we are trying to set up small houses for a community of maybe 10 to 12 people to be able to live on our 3.3 acre piece of property and be able to develop their own food and start their own small businesses, and trying to show the world that that's possible. And not only is it possible, it's something that can lead to much bigger developments down the road. And that's doing Aeternia's goals, providing for Aeternia's duties, and actually helping the United States, actually trying to tackle some of these problems. And it's not solving the problems. It's not fixing the United States. So then why would the title say that? Because we're the Empire of Aeternia. We are one micronation. We're small, but we're determined. You all are a community of nations around the world. You are people who make a difference in each and every one of your citizens' lives, each and every one of your personal family members' lives, and in your local communities. And you can take that power and you can speak out about the things that are important to you, especially if you see things that are tragic and going on in the United States or wherever you are. You can find ways to collaborate and connect not only with those in your local communities, like we're trying to do, who are making the difference, who are doing that work. Maybe you already are. Maybe you're a step ahead of us. Maybe you're 10. Great. Yeah. That was not powerful. Great. But that being the case, we want to connect with you. That's what's ultimately going to make that larger difference. That's what's ultimately going to go from, oh, okay, it's an effect on a local level. It's an effect on a regional level. It's an effect on a national level. When aid networks can become national enterprises, when they can really, really go across state lines and provide help to the places that need it most, we see the largest impact. And I think that is going to be the case here. Micronations have good in their heart. They have these wide-eyed dreams and are trying to bring them to life. Doesn't it only make natural sense that if we are trying to provide all of this benefit to the world, that a step in that process may be to first start providing the benefit? Slowly dying on camera for this. But I will finish saying what I have to say. Gosh. And then I probably will let you guys go. We'll probably go for an hour, and then I'll read a few messages and sign off. So if you guys have stuff you want to talk about, I want to do a risk tournament again. So that'll be a thing that we update our website on for the new winter and everything. We'll plan a date. But for right now, again, I'm dying. I'm still trying to get over a cold. But it's incredibly important. Also, hi, Astlani. I saw you jumped in. Hey, what's up, Skyzies? Good to see you. And also, thank you guys. We have 12 likes, 6 viewers. You guys are helping us keep our watch time up, I will say. Right now, our watch time is like higher than it normally is. And that's because of you guys jumping in these streams, making a difference, going back and watching our old stuff. It makes a huge difference, legitimately. We're trying to race right now to 3,000 watch time hours, eventually to 4,000 to get monetized for all the ads that run on our videos that we don't get paid for now. But once we hit 3,000, we will be able to unlock a whole bunch of stuff like super likes. So if you guys do want to pay a little bit of money here and there, you can like do big super likes and stuff for us. You can buy stuff from our store directly on YouTube. There'll be a whole bunch of benefits. But anyway, that's our first step to having a bigger, more stable connection monetarily to YouTube and getting to that 4,000 watch time hours. And you guys have us right now at almost 1,700 watch time hours. I think it's like 1690 something right now. And so once we get that 1,700 watch time hours, not too far, a little more than halfway right now to the 3,000. But with these streams, with the things that we're doing in the community, I think that can pick up faster and faster and faster. So, here nor there, let's read some comments. Let's get into it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my rant. But again, crucial topic, in my opinion, to micronationalism. I feel people, this video isn't super long, so maybe people will come back and watch it. If you're watching at this point, definitely try and drop a comment for us. Definitely show that you're here and tell me your thoughts, because sometimes people don't check out all the live stream. But this is important for the micronations who do end up watching this. I think through my horrendous coughing, somebody should make an edit of this with no coughing. I think this will provide a lot of tangible benefits for people looking for those next steps above and beyond just how do I create a micronation? How do I make a flag? How do I make an outfit? How do I design my government? How do I recruit people? All of those things still come into play here, but we're taking it a notch above. Let's read all these comments. Ooh, first, Skyzy jumped in and said, hi, would love to see tournaments. Awesome. Thank you. We will definitely hit it up. Again, if you guys are following our Discord, definitely hit us up. We will probably post an announcement telling the date for a risk tournament. Oh gosh, I'm about to have to dip. My soul. We will announce the date for a risk tournament soon on our Discord. if you don't have Discord and you don't want to get it, shoot us your email at aeternianempire@gmail.com. We want to start an email list to kind of do the same thing because everybody's in different places. Almost every one of those sites require email to get started. So more than likely you have an email, even YouTube, Google account, probably have an email. So definitely hit us up with your email. We'll start an email list that way. For whatever reason, if your YouTube notifications are weird, you get info on these streams and all the updates for all the stuff we're doing in the local community and stuff like that in a newsletter. If you wanted to, you could always mark it to spam or throw it away or whatever, but it would give us another way to connect to you guys. So shoot us an email if you want to be added to that list. Again, our email's in the description. Pycili says, fun fact about us is that we at Pycili hate war even though we were made to oppose another micronation. War is stupid. I'm glad you don't like war. We don't like war either. So through the screen micronational high five. And now I will cough repeatedly off camera. Excuse me. Okay. Sheepland says, how did you get money to buy Vitae originally? I'm wondering how to raise funds for land. My private savings and my girlfriend's private savings, as well as help from our community, help from you guys, excuse me. We exhausted, at the time that we bought Vitae, we exhausted almost all of our income, like to a concerning degree. I think, completely drained my bank account. And Tiffany was low as well. So it was very, very difficult to purchase Vitae. It was something that we only did because the right opportunity struck. Excuse me. And depending on where you live, purchasing land may be incredibly difficult. That all being the case, fundraising is great. One of the things that we talked about in a previous video that we're talking about again now is that land is becoming harder and harder to come by. It's becoming more and more expensive. And so while as a micronation, you should definitely try and push for getting your own land, there may be a point where that is, again, very, very difficult and almost not worth it. So find a way to work with other micronations. Find a way to work with your local community in the meantime, and you can do a lot even without land. Because I think purchasing land ultimately comes to, one, your personal financial abilities. Of course, like with anything else, if you can do pay-to-win stuff, it makes it a lot easier. But in our case, literally years of saving, just personal life savings, combined with a great opportunity and a lot of help from our citizens, a lot of help from our community. So I would recommend developing a business like we're trying to do to continue to raise more money to develop the land that we purchase. Raising money is wonderful, and if you develop as a nonprofit, may be a great way to go, but it's always going to be limited based on how many people at one time believe in your cause and how much you can deliver on it once you've actually gotten the funding. A business, on the other hand, will be a constant stream of revenue for you if successful. And hopefully supply you with compounding returns in the future. So you'll make more money and be able to do more with the money that you have and invest it better. But I appreciate you guys. And I'm probably going to have to get on going. So thank you all so much for hanging out. If you like this video, please like it. I'm trying to get to you guys. I'm trying to get to you guys and tell you the importance of micronationalism, the importance of connecting to your community. But I'm literally about to destroy my vocal cords. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. I love you all. Aeternia forever. If you feel like I'm sacrificing enough for this country and for the stream, jump into our Patreon. Patreon.com/the EOA. Links in the description. Share the video too if you guys can share it. That legitimately helps a lot. Even if you just do the copy link thing and subscribe and all that. I love you guys. Aeternia forever. Skyzy said, should I make a coughing edit of AP? Please do it. Rebecca of Alstes, what's up? Good to see you. Hawks and Rapto, yo, good to see you. Love you guys. Appreciate it. Chad Cook, as always, great to see you. Also says, I hope your larynx feels better. Skyzy says, I hope you feel better. Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all. Pasilian Empire, see you. Chad, see you. Appreciate you guys. Take medicine and cough drops. I'm going to be taking Theraflu and the little, lemon cough drops as soon as I leave. I guarantee you, I've been doing it for like a week. Night, guys.